Good morning. Let's go ahead. It's about 10:15, isn't it? We close enough? Yeah. Thanks for coming. Big day on campus. Called the chamber last night, ordered up the weather. Thank Brent Cooper for that. Also, before we get to the business at hand of a new president of the university, I want to recognize at least one former president who's here, is Leon Booth. Stand up, Leon. Others couldn't join us today, but I'm glad Leon's here. Also, I never want to miss an opportunity to recognize and thank Jerry St. Amand, our interim president. God bless Jerry. Also, I want to make sure today, and before I turn it over to Ashish, give credit where credit is due. And that's the search committee that started with, 7 billion humans on Earth, and it worked us down to this moment. If you're here from the search committee, stand up, will you? And this is really your gig, so please come up on stage. Come on up. Come up here. I didn't tell him we were going to do that, but hey, look, this will be short, and it's all family style here, so. But we do owe the search committee just an enormous thank you. This is a very difficult process and a very competitive process, and the search committee did all the hard work. So again, thank you very much, and you'll have time to thank them after. Just very quickly, I want to say over the past few months, we all got to know the candidate who today joins us as the new leader of NKU. Don't go away. No. Oh no. Don't go. This is your party. So over the past few months, we all, the regents and the search committee, got to know the candidate who today joins us as the new leader of NKU. Among many other attributes, one thing really stood out to all of us who you see here on the stage today. Ashish is guided by a very rare combination of head and heart. Up here, he's an economist, an academic, a skilled and entrepreneurial leader. And here, he has a heartfelt passion for students who need and want what we provide to improve lives and create choices for themselves, for their families, and for communities. It's his rare combination of head and heart that led us to this moment here this morning. So on behalf of the search committee and the Board of Regents, it's my honor to introduce the 6th president of NKU and also the president of the #1 most dynamic university in America. Here's Ashish Vaidya. Yeah, you guys can sit down. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
That's who you put, buddy.
No, that's perfect. Perfect. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Good morning. Well, Rich, I'm glad you said that the weather was your job and responsibility, because I thought under the contract it was probably my responsibility in the future. So I'm actually relieved that the weather is going to be under your bailiwick, so that's great. Good morning, and it's a really distinct pleasure for me to be here at Northern Kentucky University. This is a tremendous moment for me and my family. It's an opportunity. I'm just so delighted to be able to start this journey with you and move from there. I wanted to share a few things with you along the way. I know this is, for many of you, the first time that you're getting to know who I am and my name and how to pronounce it. We'll work on that, Rich, right? I think I can take liberties a little bit today, no? You'll see. But I did want to thank the Board of Regents, especially the Regents Bainey and Regents Damaris for this wonderful opportunity, and the entire search committee. That was a nice touch that we could have you over here and acknowledge your hard work and the ability to do this. We'll talk a little bit more about my experience with you as well and what I learned through that process. My name is Ashish Vaidya, and I'm truly honored to have been appointed just a few minutes ago as the incoming and 6th president of Northern Kentucky University, which is truly a remarkable institution, as I'm discovering more and more every day. I am currently completing my second year of my 2-year term as the interim president at St. Cloud State University in Minnesota. And prior to this role, I played many other roles. Rich mentioned I was an academic. I was the provost and vice president for academic affairs at St. Cloud State. Prior to that, I served at 2 different institutions in California on the Cal State system. Cal State Los Angeles, a very urban metropolitan campus, and Cal State Channel Islands, which was a brand new campus at the time I joined as a faculty member many years ago. You know, about a decade ago, when actually I was at Cal State Channel Islands, I was the dean of the faculty, and I came across and read a book that was published by the American Association of State Colleges and Universities, or ASCU, as we call it. It was in 2002 the book was written. It was called Stepping Forward as Stewards of Place. And this was a guide to leading public engagement for state colleges and universities. And it was written by an ASCU task force that was chaired by your former president, Jim Batruba. It was actually back then that I was made aware of NKU's work with regional stewardship. And over the years, I've also been influenced by the work of Strive Together, the Partnership for Cradle to Career Success, and how it all started with Nancy Zimford, then at the University of Cincinnati, who collaborated with NKU and Xavier University to maximize the collective impact of these institutions for regional prosperity. So when the opportunity came to be a candidate and to serve NKU as its 6th president, there was really no hesitation on my part. I simply said yes, I would be delighted to be a candidate that in my mind I think is the premier engaged and entrepreneurial university in this region, and quite simply beyond as well. I believe NKU is a place that matches my professional strengths and philosophy. I'm attracted to the mission of NKU, to deliver an innovative, student-centered education, to engage in impactful scholarly and creative endeavors, to empower your graduates to have fulfilling careers and meaningful lives, and to contribute to the economic, social, and cultural vitality of this region and of this state. Your core values resonate strongly with me: excellence, integrity, diversity and inclusion, innovation, and collegiality. And my experience at several institutions and my passion for the transformational nature of public education will serve to advance your goals of defining a new vision for the future, advocating for increased state support and resources, advancing student success, preserving a culture of collaboration and shared governance, maintaining and strengthening an inclusive community, and strengthening and expanding the impact on regional economic development. Throughout the search, I learned a great deal about this university. And when I begin as your president next year, I look forward to working with each and every one of you to learn even more. But the search itself taught me several things about the NKU. Your Board of Regents and the Search and Screening Committee ran a wonderful search, and no doubt they have excellent taste. But their hard work and commitment to excellence reflected very positively on NKU, and I'd like to thank them for their tireless efforts. Through my interactions with the board, the search committee, and community members that I had occasion to meet, I learned a great deal about what makes this place so special and has made me even more enthusiastic about this new adventure in my life. I have learned that NKU is an institution committed to its mission and its core values. I have learned that NKU and the region you serve has a tremendous spirit of entrepreneurship and innovation. This is a passionate, can-do community with an unstoppable future. I have learned that there's a strong sense of pride on this campus, and there should be. You have much to be proud of. You have stellar undergraduate and graduate academic programs, experiential learning opportunities for students, a strong commitment to access, economic development, and community partnerships. So I believe NKU is ideally positioned to continue to be this region's premier entrepreneur university for the 21st century. It has a great tradition of civic and community engagement. I'm excited about the opening of the Health Innovation Center and the partnership with St. Elizabeth Healthcare and the University of Kentucky College of Medicine to establish a Northern Kentucky medical campus. These are just great examples for what NKU will be doing even more in its future. And the strong partnership that we have with our regional economic development partners to expand our strong community base. And this is going to be important given the challenges and realities that we face in higher education, not just at NKU, not just in the Commonwealth of Kentucky, but frankly, all over the United States. Together, we will navigate these challenging times. A new commitment to performance-based funding, new productivity measures, greater fiscal scrutiny, and the pension challenges, and we'll do this together, that I assure you. I look forward to being your advocate, your ambassador, and champion, be it in the corporate boardroom, be it in the state legislature, or in the governor's office, and working in partnership with the great foundation that we have, and calling upon our more than 60,000 proud alumni to join me in this effort. You are our best ambassadors, and without you, we would not be as successful as we've been. Let me share a little bit about me and my personal background and what brings me to this stage of my career. You know, many years ago, the Nobel Prize-winning Indian economist, Amartya Sen, remarked that one's identity need not be seen in unique terms, that an individual is an intersection of varieties of identities, including her origin, her gender, her language, her cultural background, etc. To assert one's identity in one way does not mean that you deny another. In particular, he said that the Indian identity is not just a surviving one, but an absorbing identity. I think what he meant was that Indians, because of the diversity and complexity of India, absorb many external influences, whether it's in their literature, in their drama, film, music, or even food. Growing up in different parts of India, I was exposed to many influences, quite often conflicting and contradictory. Different languages, I grew up trilingual, different cultural and religious norms, the full spectrum of political ideology and thought, and of course, the vast disparity in income and opportunities. It was the latter that propelled me to study economics in college and then to consider furthering my education in the United States, the pinnacle of quality higher education in the world. I came here nearly 32 years ago to pursue my doctorate in economics. I applied to schools in many parts of the country, the East Coast, the West Coast, everything in between. My economics training was already showing its identity as I chose the University of California at Davis because they gave me a full ride for my doctorate. But here is where the next phase of my life shaped my identity, studying and working in a system of public higher education that facilitates economic and social mobility, getting married and raising two wonderful children. So I feel I am a parent, I'm a spouse, a brother, a son, an economist. I say that proudly, I know it's an educator, and all with a transnational identity. When my daughter, who of course was born and brought up here, was applying for college many years ago, she had the task of writing and composing the proverbial and dreaded college essay. And being the independent child that she was, she neither asked for nor accepted the advice from her two PhD qualified parents. Academic guidance and not turning to us, we had to deal with that pain. But when she showed us the draft, Nita and I were both surprised and secretly elated. You see, her essay, which was titled Mud, was about an incident that occurred when she was a sophomore in high school and we were on a visit in India. My family and I were walking along the countryside in a town called Pune in India when I noticed a girl near a rundown hut on the side of the road. And I turned to my daughter and said, you know, life is all relative. You could just as easily have been born into that home. This girl had the brightest eyes you could imagine, and her face was caked with mud. I was making a point about the accidental nature of one's birth and how that opens up opportunities for the privileged, while it could stifle others' chance for a better life. My daughter reflected upon that for quite some time, because a year later she made the point in her essay that one should think about the privilege of one's circumstances, make the most of the opportunities, and then, most importantly, a responsibility to give back, because it was the accidental nature of your birth that caused the trajectory to continue. Contributing to the public good is what NKU does at its best. Its mission is to prepare students not just for careers, but for meaningful lives. The opportunities and choices available to people in many parts of the world are still constrained by that accidental nature of their birth. And we are fortunate that the notion of opportunity and intergenerational mobility, two enduring aspects of life in the United States, are alive and well at places like Northern Kentucky University. Over the last decade, I've been reflecting on the national discussion about the value proposition of state colleges and universities, like NKU. What is it about us that adds value to society? We are connected to our communities. Our students, in large part, come from those communities, and the region, their jobs and careers are tied to that region. And the most significant research opportunities are also tied to the region. Our political support depends on the region. And there's a national movement whereby metro regions are recognizing that encouraging creativity and innovation is the key to regional economic prosperity. Judith Rodin, who just stepped down as the head of the Rockefeller Foundation, was the first woman president of the University of Pennsylvania. She observed, cities and metro regions will be defined by the quality of the ideas they generate, the innovations they spur, and the opportunities they create for the people in that region. Even more important, local governments and business leaders are coming together, realizing that the region, in fact, is an interconnected economic and knowledge-based network that requires a collaborative approach to spark job creation and long-term economic growth. And I believe that state colleges and universities, by their very nature, must be anchor institutions in that knowledge network. We must be significantly engaged in the communities and the external constituencies that we serve through the development, exchange, and application of knowledge and expertise in mutually beneficial ways. And in so doing, we change and reclaim the narrative of our value to this region, to the great Commonwealth of Kentucky, and frankly beyond. NKU is positioned to make a tremendous impact in this region and has a long and storied history. Well, not so long, you're only 50 years old. This is the final year of the 5-year NKU strategic plan, Fuel the Flame. And from what I can tell, this university has been doing a remarkable job making progress on its ambitious goals. Improving student success is a fundamental pillar within that plan, and I was so pleased to see that because it resonates clearly with my goals as well. I look forward to the work that we will do together to develop a new plan and a new vision that will guide us to the second half century of our existence. At St. Cloud State, I was thrust into the interim presidency under the most unfortunate of circumstances. I was named interim president last June due to the tragic accident that claimed the life of my former president, Earl Potter. The last year and a half has taught me the many roles a president must play: a compassionate leader, a confidence builder, a crisis communicator, while keeping a steady hand on the wheel, making sure that we don't lose sight of our unwavering commitment to students and to the region. And with the great support that I had on campus and the community, we've been able to do that and much more. As I said, I have much to learn about NKU. What I can promise you is that I will model collegiality every day of my tenure here. And I will work with you to build consensus around a common vision that we can all aspire to be the great university we know we are. Together, we will celebrate the 50th anniversary next year. I can't imagine a more exciting time for my wife and I to be here for that occasion. She does send her regrets. She couldn't be here, but she sends her best wishes. And she was very excited about her visit when we were here about almost a month ago. But I want to speak for both of us and say we're both so grateful and thank you for this wonderful opportunity. I began by saying that it's an honor to be selected as the 6th president, and indeed it is. And I will close by saying it will be a privilege to serve as your president, your advocate, your champion, and your colleague, and be a part of this vibrant university. Thank you all for being here, and thank you for the great work that you do on behalf of Northern Kentucky University.
Thank you, and I think it's important for Ashish to know, I mean, you look around, we're all in this together, right? On behalf of all those students that are just out walking around campus, just trying to get what they need, right? Thank you all so much for coming. Thank you for everything you do for this university, and we look forward to the great opportunity to all be in it together. Thank you. Thanks for coming.